everyone. Welcome to my teaching learning session. We begin with a new block today, speaking about BPCS 184, which is school psychology. School psychology has been one of the most prevalent and growing branch of psychology at the moment. So with me, Sonal Singh Pawar, will be taking care of the introduction, Unit 1 and Block 1 of school psychology. Let's go through one of the most expansive branches of psychology, which is growing in terms of education, also growing in terms of employment in our country, with legislative and regulatory body associated with people to be practicing, students to be earning, and also guiding children, spheres of children which are mostly on the academic field and even later lives. The unit is going to talk about introduction, defining school psychology. We are going to also talk about the need and the relevance of school psychology. What is the need, how it is relevant in today's time, how did it emerge? We are going to see the historical overview and the current trends, which is where did school psychology actually originated from? What is its current trends? It's still settling down. Is it on its uphill or does not function the way we think? Also, the future of school psychology in India, which talks about that how does school psychology is placed in India. Is it growing only in terms of education, or Indian has any regulatory bodies? Can people practice it in India or not? Also, roles and function of a school psychologist, which is essentially important. Speaking of this, it's extremely important for school psychologists to understand that what are their roles, what are their functions, what are they here for. So that's something that we're going to deal with in this unit, which is Unit 1 and Block 1, summarizing it. Let's start with defining school psychology. Let's understand what do we understand with this branch, which usually associates and makes us education field, which is really actually true. So school psychology is very similar to educational psychology, as its emphasis is both on learning environment of the children, also development of the children. We are here talking about school psychology, supporting the academic journey of school children so that it becomes a fruitful journey and a fruitful process. School psychologists are required, they require an adequate psychologists not only deal with diagnosing, understanding the problem of children in human development, but also diagnosing the problem of human development. They also address the mental health concern of school children. Student is centric here. School psychologist is talking about where the child is in the center. Our entire focus is in their development. Our entire focus is their academic growth. Also, the individual sessions that are carried out by the school psychologist require an efficient skill of a counseling psychologist. So do we say that when we talk about school psychology, it is an amalgamation of having some skills of the counseling psychologist and a little skills of clinical psychologist. So having these two skills are extremely important. The reason that we need a skill of clinical psychologist is that they are able to diagnose and understand the childhood disorders of children, and at the same time we speak about something which is going to be disorders. We also need to communicate it, psychoeducate the parents, letting it parents understand that what is the problem all about, how it will impact the child's ability to to grow, to develop, to carry on academics. Are there going to be any pitfalls? Are there going to be in the development of children, etc. Moving ahead, American Psychological Association, which is APA, defines school psychology. We need to be knowing this word to word. Whenever APA defines, these are called the operational definitions. Operational definitions are definitions which are strictly, talking about the theoretical background of that field. So it is a general practice, health service providers, specialty of professional psychology that is concerned with science and practice of psychology, with children, with youth and families, learners of all age, and the schooling process. So do we understand here we have to add both as professionals and practitioners? You need to be able to communicate the right information, like adequate and understand and diagnose the problem like professionals, and equally counsel and practice your knowledge. Becomes smooth, their journey of school life becomes something which is that what they're looking for. The basic education and training of school psychologists prepares them to provide a range of psychological assessment, intervention preventions, and health promotion and program development evaluation services, which with a special focus on the developmental process of children and youth within the context of schools, families, and other systems, which could be colleges, which could be internship programs, which could be in open schools. So anything which talks about academic field or learning and development in that field is the focus of the school psychology as per APA. Also, APA focuses three major points: you acting as a professional and practitioner. Also, the fact that the basic education and training of school psychologists should prepare them for a range of things, not only just to counsel, but also intervene, to diagnose, to prepare an assessment chart, take care of the health of the children, promote health, promote well-being. Evaluation services needs to be cut short and should be very clear with the people who are doing it and being able to counsel it well. So this is a whole lot of things that counselors, which is school counselors, should be aware of, as we see. And there also is a growing need of counselors, school counselors, special educators. Also, when we talk about school psychologists are also increasing in school, per se psychologists who deal with day-to-day problems of children, address them personally, understand their concerns, and alternate that behavior or that thought process with a very adaptive thought process in children and let them on to the school. So it's something which is the need of the hour, if we say. So let's understand what is the need of school psychology. So as an overview of this content, we need to know that according to the statistics of 2011 census, India has 37.24 crores overall population, in which 0 to 4 people fall out to be 30%, 30.76%, which is 31, 32. Today, this would be approximately, we are 15, 14 years above this range. Children at the same time would be, I think, 45% of the total population. And children, this is a statistical appraisal which has been mentioned. And there are other several government initiatives that aim at fulfilling educational needs of children in the country, like Sarva Skills, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which was given at 2000. The right to education was given 2010, thus ensuring a greater enrollment of students, lower rate of school dropouts, and the school therefore works as an attractive community to be able to reach out to every children in that large number, attract them, put them into education system, let them understand the value of education system. This also comes under, the need understanding that so much of the population, 40 to 45% of the population is youth to us, which is who are getting education, learning. So our focus falls on them. Another thing, we need to reduce the rate of dropouts. We need to have maximum number of enrollment. So if an area has 100 children, we need to make sure that approximately 95% of children are enrolled. Also to make sure that within the 2 to 3 years, the amount of dropouts should be minimal, which should be 95 or 95. No child should be dropped out from school because of any condition, any problem, and they should continue staying in the education system. Also, in the last few decades, there have been steps that has been taken in the interest that has generated psychology courses. There are courses in school psychology field also. The reason that education system is doing that, so that we are able to buffer to the need of these people. So most schools have also started offering psychology in higher secondary level. In college courses, however, there has been a pattern in subject selection and remains unchanged for decades. Majority of students after psychology major have an inclination towards the field of clinical or counseling psychology, but the inclination towards the clinical psychology has been far more higher in comparison to the counseling psychologist. Also, India is one of the most, another thing that, has raised the need of school psychology is that the number of suicide rates are increasing in our country. And that too from the age of 15 to 29 are at a greater risk today. Also, from according to 2016 census, it was found out, not 16 but 20 census, it was found out that children at the age of 13 to 17 are more likely to think about committing suicide. They are more likely to address to the understanding of their existence. The reason that they understand who they are, questioning on their existence starts really early. And as this questioning starts up, a lot of children goes through crisis, not identifying themselves, not being able to relate to who they are, do not have goals and purposes in life. And this difficulty level actually, leads them to wrong direction of coping. And one of the wrong direction is attempting suicide. So that completes something which we talk about as we spoke about a school psychology and its relevance. Another need it states is that the experts from the various fields of sociology and psychology state a number of possible reasons for the rise in the student suicides in India over years. Higher academic stress has been there. There has been failure in relationship in children. Today, children are exposed to so many things, and inadequate coping, lack of social support are some of the prominent indices that work as a precipitating factor to think about suicide. Also, the fact that inadequate coping has been one of the greatest mechanism and one of the most impactful thing in children, that they feel that ending things is the best way to deal with problems. So that's why you will see children today not confronting with their problems. They believe in wrapping up ideas, closing the opinions rather than confronting and discussing. Students often are unable to find for addressing their anxiety, growing anxiety and stress. That's the need that we require a school psychologist in school. The reason that students do not find a platform or do not find a secure base in their environment to address their increasing anxiety and stress, we need to know that there should be a possibility of more school psychologists and counselors. With the growing rate of suicides year after year, there is an urgent need to address mental health concerns of the students, which is something which is directly proportional. The reason that we are not able to understand problems of children, we are not able to cater to their difficulty levels, we are not able to support them in their failures of academics or relationship. That proves that there's a lack of social support. That proves that children do not require the adequate social support and training which should be given to them, which further leads to wrong coping. Wrong coping leads to wrong method of dealing with their themselves, their beings, and further impact their well-being. Overthinking, generalization, negative self-talk, all of this builds in, which actually addresses the need, an urgent need, that we need counselors, school counselors in India equally. CBSE also, with as a protocol, has an every year has a committee of experts in the field of mental health, which comprises of counselors, special educators from India and abroad, who offer services online. So they offer counseling services online, and this is counseling.cbc, which is CBSE only, at gmail.com. These counseling services are provided to both parents and students of both classes. This service is primarily offered before the board examination months, which goes on from the month of February. It starts from January and goes from February till April. A toll-free number is also provided to students, and on the television, on a telecounseling services to students and their parents. These services actually are initiated by the board during the lockdown period, 2020, when the examinations were rescheduled, scheduled, and then cancelled. So much of difficulty, so much of anxiety, precipitating factors were increasing in the in the prevalent times. Wanted a need of such things by the CBSE. There were a list of counselors and psychologists given to children who they can reach to on their own comfort zone, speak to them, and even this was not only for students, this was even for the families. This was even given to families who were having difficulties dealing with their children at the time of board examination. So they started running it from the month of February, from the month of board examination. Could have started at the end of January and goes on till April. So this year also, where the board examination starts from February, the portal is open from the February month till the month of April. There are telecounseling services. You can write on the email, you can go to the website and look forward for free counseling and freelancing for yourself. Also, the Indian education system is in a state of transition. We all know that. There has been bigger modification. There has been NEP 2020 education policy. While drastic changes are predicted in curriculum development, NEP 2020, which actually catalyzes, also function as a catalyst on ongoing movement in inclusive education in Indian school. Inclusive education is one of the most paramount thing that India should look forward to, I feel today. The reason it will reduce the amount of prejudices. It will reduce the amount of any sort of discrimination that children of different potentialities, different capacities are dealing with. One bigger reason that children goes through a lot of difficulty transacting or expressing their flaws, expressing their learning deformities, is because of prejudices, discrimination that they go through. So the inclusion inclusion in the new education policy is a great step to support such children. Also, this will also include the need of school counselors to be more active in the school. This will allow children to be more active. Also, the policy also emphasizes on effective training of teachers. So, speaking of this, we need to know the teachers need to be trained. We would positively impact the school children and comparatively reduce the burdens of school psychologists. Also, when we speak about this, one of the key highlights of NEP 2020 is the emphasis on health and well-being. The national education policy of 2020 emphasizes time and again in its policy that we need to be teaching in a way which is adaptive, which is associating to every child. For every child, it's relating to their ways, their different ways of understanding education, that supports their physical health, that also keeps their psychological well-being in check. So not rushing things, giving them ample opportunity of subjects. This is what NAP has got into play, which allows children to choose from the many. Also, in nascent stage of 2020, the humongous task of assessing school children's mental health and well-being in India is itself commendable. Having a track of how many people are suffering from what and what not, this is something which NEP 2020 has started doing. Like, this requires a huge number of school counselors and school support too. Also, in the recent past, there has been many changes, especially after and during the pandemic times, which is COVID-19, that has greatly impacted the education sector, forcing all schools, colleges to go from online to online teaching, online learning processes. New issues have set in now. New behavioral concerns have set in. There are forced homeschooling, which has been done now because of the infections, the concerns in the environment. Some families do not wish to send their children at all. So, prevalent this time, we need to know school counselors are such a need. There are some things that parents are not able to communicate to the school and equally are not able to communicate to their children. Their wishes of having the children homeschooled and the reason why. Their wishes to not letting their children go to school on a regular basis, children really don't know why. So I think all of these issues which have set in because of the COVID-19 can be best addressed when we have support of the school, with the support of the school counselors. Counselors will help you help not only children, but will also support, I feel, it's just not about children, it was equally support, uh, equally support their understanding of their life, understanding of their capacities, understanding as per their capacities what should they go in for, and understanding their academic health and academic intelligence according to the times in today's world. Adaptation to knowing what was COVID at that point of time and understanding what they can do and cannot do was very important. School counselors were very needed at that point of time, and that's also been a key role, that the number of placement of school counselors per strata and per area in the school has increased. The establishment of this discipline is also dependent upon the developing status of the country. The reason that children are opting for it, education ventures are getting open in this field, is also because of the status of the country. This country accepting the need of education in this specific field. The specialized field of school psychology is very well established in the Western countries and with well structured training programs. Specialized academic courses and license to practice. In India, the issue of licensing remains pending for all other specialization of psychology except clinical. Clinical is vastly having sophisticated and genuine bodies, regulatory bodies that are supported. Otherwise, counseling psychology, school psychology, we do not have a proper regulatory body. Then we probably have to chuck in everybody under the same carpet, which is under the understanding of clinical psychology. So let's understand that here there is thus an urgent need of professionalizing school psychology as an academic discipline. We need to have school psychology being accepted, school psychology or career built psychology to be licensed, to be providing a platform. The reason is there are times where people who are very capable and skilled but do not get the opportunity of expressing their skills and knowledge with children because they lack the license. And at the same time, there are people who do not have the training and knowledge at a greater level, but they are still practicing without the license. So I feel the knowledge and the non-knowledgeable all go on the same train. So it's like giving equal amount of harm to children because of this. So licensing in all the fields of psychology is paramount today, should be looked upon by the government and the regulatory bodies. The alarming rate of student, which is the overview of suicides in India, is quite high. The increasing demands that are likely to be made on the provision of mental health services have been implemented after NEP 2020. Also, there has been a new emerging role of school psychologists online therapists, online counselors at the present day times are increasing. The professional overlaps among psychology specialization itself is there. So clinical psychologists can also play a role of school psychology if have the knowledge of human development, school knowledge, education policies, and so can a counseling psychologist also. So this is something which is trying to tell us that how do we feel that there is an emergent need of school psychology in our country. Now, understanding the historical overview and the current trends, which talks about where is school psychology originating from? Was it a part of our country from day one, or this has emerged with time? So, school psychology as a field has significant overlaps with specialization of educational psychology, clinical, counseling, community, and developmental. I'll relate all of them to it. The reason that school psychology is strongly associated to educational psychology is the reason that educational policies finding the child being fit according to their academic potency is something which is equally required in the school psychology as well as in the educational psychology. Knowing policy needs to be there in both. Also, coming to clinical, when we speak about clinical psychology, we need to know that clinical psychology talks about diagnosis, correct assessment, identifying diseases, disorder, which again is required in school psychology. We need to address concerns and problems of children in class, identify if there's a diseased mind or disordered mind, and correct diagnosis, assessment, evaluation, and then remedies and support. What kind of further support needs to be provided to children also is decided by something which is school psychology, which is equally present in a clinical psychology. The clinical psychologist diagnose, test their patients, identify the problem, and then starts probably the medication if it's not through therapy. And therapy, if without medication, without any pharmacological treatment, it can go on. So this is how it is so relatable to clinical. Counseling psychology is a field of psychology where we deal with providing therapies and therapy to treat people by providing therapy. So equally does the school counselor when they psychoeducate the family, provide knowledge to the family, support the children, support children with different therapies like behavioral therapies for them to grow, understand their problems, give them a new alternative ways of behavior, etc. Developmental and community psychology is to help them understand that what is the population which is falling under this factor, what are the different kind of vocational services which could later be provided to children with any kind of disability, which can make them probably make them find difficulty in future living, which could be education, higher education, employment concerns, etc. And lastly, why developmental psychology is an interdisciplinary with school. Human development talks about development from zero till the end of the life. This is equally important for school psychologists to know where the development faltered, how the child was born, was there any delays in language or any milestone, which is equally important to understand the development, understand the problems in school, understand their self motivation, etc. This further tells us that school psychology is just not one field. It's an interdisciplinary field which has an amalgamation of further other fields and its knowledge. So it is a field which requires grasping of huge amount of umpteen amount of information so that greater understanding and application in this field can happen and rise of this field can further continue. This completes with knowing that this is where we started. Also, the role outline were limited in school setting, and the school psychologists have often been reported of not having a role identity, which is very true. People bag in jobs at a greater vicinity, at a greater place, but unfortunately, they do not have a proper role identity. They might be called counselors, they might be called school counselors, but still there lacks clarity in terms of their job profile. Also, being handed over tasks that does not fall in the area of expertise. At times, counselors are doing multiple things which distract them from their area of knowledge, which distracts them from their area of understanding. Of being misunderstood in their roles or psychologists or counselors, that's again a problem. At times they are school counselors and are they taken as psychologists, and at times they are psychologists, but given the designation of school counselors. So there is a role malfunction that we very strongly see here. Also, facing unrealistic expectation from teachers and families. We all know that children are under undue pressure of parents, undue pressure of families to perform as per the niche which is created by other people. We need to know every child has their own significant way of growing. Every child grows according to their knowledge. Every child grows according to their understanding and their capacity. So unrealistic expectation actually drives us to have an understanding that we require a school counselor to bridge that gap between parents and children. Also of not enjoying the status similar to that of clinical psychologists, knowing that they have so much to deal with, they do not get that importance of clinical fields. They are given an importance of a very general psychologist, which is not very great, not very reputed, also disappoints them time and again. Then, at present in India, how have we started with school psychology? Very few universities have started to offer specialized training in school psychology. For example, two major universities that offer post graduation, which is GD Goenka, which is in Gurgaon itself, and Maharaja Sayaji Rao University in Baroda. Baroda also has a field of specialization, masters in school psychology. Also, GD Goenka has PhD, master's level in school psychology to uplift this field. Also, there are diploma courses on school psychology being offered by Pune University. Also, Indira Gandhi University, Open University, has been offering a course on school psychology in its undergraduate, starting from very start. So this is all started from 2007 and 2010, which allows us to not only look forward to options like this and but also gain knowledge from a very starting point. So India has given this contribution in the field of education. Also, the discipline of school psychology is considered well established when measured against six indices. The reason that we say that school psychology is doing well, can provide you jobs and employment, and is a very fruitful field for development because it is an amalgamation of interdisciplinary branches of psychology. There are multiple branches which are within school psychology. The first of the six indices are specialized graduate training programs in school psychology. So there are training programs. We know that there is a doctorate program in the same field. People should look into hiring qualified professionals as school psychologists rather than someone who's just picked up a degree and done a master's in the field of psychology to put in there. Forming of professional association and academic journals that address issues in this field. In India, we have already met all of these conditions. To let people know that in India, we have already reached to that bar that we have been providing children with education from past a decade and more. We need the rise in terms of employment, people and schools as a facility and an area to understand that school counselor equally with all the kind of required qualification needs to be present in school. They have a separate dealing in comparison to what teachers do and what also clinical psychologists or counseling psychologists can do to children. So that is something which is again to be understood by schools so that the number of employment increases. It's a very simple thing. We need to complete the vicious cycle. You study, you get the knowledge, you hone your skills, you get an employment, you further keep working, put it out, you give out to that field, you supply to that field for greater research and development, and further this field keeps increasing. Until we do not do this, remember, a field cannot put its roots in any of the country or any of the areas. Also, the country does not offer, there is a thing that the country does not offer any specialized doctorate degrees for the other specialization of psychology. Hence, this may remain an issue which is pending for a while. Recently, the UGC, the University Grant Commission, declared the UGC CARE list in an attempt to get rid of the predatory journals that were common in the field of education. So there has been a lot that is being done in the field also. We need to know that the future of school psychology in India is very different if we look forward to it. And it's a need of the hour that we need to understand. It's the need that um, we need to know and educate children also who are looking forward to the field of psychology to look into this specialization equally. 2010, there has been so much. It's been a decade and 15. We have so many children. We have so many batches who have been learned and trained. We just need to appreciate and encourage children to pick up this field because this field takes a backseat because of the lack of identity and the lack of support and respect. whereas clinical takes the front seat in counseling because they are the forefront, they are the first backbones of this field of counseling, of the field of psychology. Now, let's study 1.5, which is the future of school psychology in India. What does it look like in India, and where is it fall? See, the school psychology in India in near future has wide scope to grow and develop, which is true. As education increases, the field in its own also increases. The professional organization need to work in the development of standardized assessment tool that can be used by school psychologists, which is very true. School psychology does not does not has its own testing and tools. We rely on tools which have been occasionally revised and given by clinical psychologists for any diagnosis. So there's a need for that. In India, which is a land of diversity and multiculturalism, a number of official languages is high. So probably testing tools need to be developed in different languages and different culture. Of a greater need is for a council of school psychology in India that it needs to be established to develop certain rules for professional training, tell them what do they need to do in class 9, support them and tell them to do something, what needs to be done in class 10th, how you need to make up your mind for class 11, choosing a subject, stream selection. What is the basis of stream selection? What is the requirement of stream selection? How do we need to do it? What are the best according to your aptitude and attitude? Class 11 to focus on the basis if they want to study in India or approx India, what are the competitive papers they need to provide? These bifurcation can be very strongly done by a school psychologist who are trained in university. This is a requirement in India now, that we need to streamline them. We need to provide them an identity. Also, defining the ethical guidelines is important in this field. There are no ethical guidelines which have been given yet of this field. Like we have a guideline for psychologists, we have a guideline for clinical psychologists and counseling. We have nothing for something which is school psychology. We don't know how they need to be, who they need to take care of. Equally, the regulating issue of license for being a qualified school counselor professional is a question today. We yet do not have any license. We yet do not, we're not looking forward to anything in terms of a regulatory body that gives us something after a course and we tell ourselves that this is what we hold as a school psychology. That's completely lacking. That's what I say. Why don't we get an identity as a school psychologist? Because we don't have a regulatory body to support us and tell that this is who you are in the school paradigm and these are your, fabricated, organized set of activities and roles. Also, more researches needs to be done by the scholars in the field in order to generate knowledge about school practices that are locally relevant. This is again very paramount for us. At present, a school psychologist typically works in the school setting. However, the future scenario can lead to them creation of position in mental health institutions, private clinics, or hospitals. Also online counseling, which is being provided, can also come into play. So school psychologists can be bifurcated to different areas in future life. The future of school psychologists is very evident. We need to know that. As the future of school psychology should evidence a shift in perspective to become more community oriented, addressing the school's mental health concern. So ideally, knowing that this is the future of India, we need to know that we need to fill in these gaps which are coming. Identity. We do not have ethical guidelines. We don't have a regulatory body that tells us we can now practice privately. There is a lack of a future scenario. We have created bodies. We have created labels, but there are no bodies at the back. So we have labels that this is doing this, but we do not have a protocol. We do not have structure of a school psychologist. At the same time, we need to do a paradigm shift. We need to know that school psychologists should also get an identity, should also get a label that they know this is where you need to work. This all will come with ethical guidelines. Then identifying the future of school psychology, the reason is the future is that there would be conduction of need assessment. Defining of goals and vision will be very easy by children and by parents. This also will help us identify our strength, weaknesses, and challenge. Action items are going to be stronger. School psychology will generate concrete outcomes, which is a very sensible, thoughtful outcomes by children will also be given out, and so by the practitioners. Plan evidence-based strategies is also something which is important. Implement action plan and evaluate effectiveness. This all needs to be done when we fill in these gaps that we've just discussed. That future of school psychology in India looks like what? Speaking of that, let's move ahead, that there are certain other challenges also. When we speak about India, we know mental health and psychological disorders are also at a backseat. We have a lot of stigmatization regarding them. That's the reason when we talk about stigmatization, we might not consider a doctor of psychology to be a doctor of psychology, treating somebody in a hospital. So, this is where the shift needs to come so that there is an overall acceptance. And this is what will help them identify what they're doing. So, to overcome all of these challenges, we much needed to acknowledge the active interference of school community that are collectively impacting the development of the child. So we need to know the school needs to have a proper protocol. The community need to divide rules and guidelines that will support. Along with this, more awareness needs to be created about the role and the salience of school psychologists. We need to probably put it in the school profile and portals. The school step up. So that is something which is paramount. Teachers have unrealistic expectations from school psychologists when dealing with problematic issues of children. Teachers also often do not report of issues and immediate attention. So there are times when teachers feel that this is something that they can also be doing because they're teaching the child. That's the unrealistic expectations. Second, they go in with problems which are actually not problems to psychologists. They go in with problems which probably can be dealt in at class, can be managed at class. So these are something which are the pitfalls of the teachers, and something which we talk about is immediate attention needed by the school and community, which is bridging them apart, which is literally bridging them apart. So we need to identify, teachers need to know what is the role of school psychology. Also, what are they handling? Not to ignore the prevalent need of the child right now. If you feel there's a concern, please report it right there, right now. So school psychologist often, enjoys no status teacher, which is very true. Taking substitution, just going there, and psychologists, 50% of the knowledge of school counselors goes in vain. They are not being supportive. They're just filling in gaps, which I feel is not a very healthy thing. Has more oftenly relied on Western models and technique, which is very true. Psychology itself, Indian psychology itself originated from the West. So we need to know a lot of our techniques, a lot of our theories and approaches and understanding of problems will be something which will be coming from the Western psychology. So what do we need to do? We need to root out, if using the same theories, same problems happening in India, we need to root them locally, understand them locally. In case of school psychology, thus it is not advisable to adopt Western roles and functions of school psychologists in a school setting. We should have protocol and guidelines that you need to stick to the Indian platforms of the school community or the community which you belong to. So all of this needs to be carried out. And often following are the roles and functions that are expected to be carried out by a school psychologist. Knowing that, when we speak about the major part, the major chunk of school psychology that we come down to is understanding what are their roles. These roles can only be fulfilled when 3 points to be remembered: a user identity needs to be given to these people, strict protocols and guidelines to be given, what are they working for, what are they working, their role needs to be labeled efficiently, and lastly, a regulatory body that allows them to strongly and confidently be a part of the organization. Once you know what you're doing and you are capable of it and you have the right, remember, you'll be able to bridge the community better, understand the child's problem locally using the same models, but understand it locally. The reason we lack identity, the reason we don't know what is to be done, we unfortunately do not understand the problem from the core. We understand the problem through the models, we understand the problems through the theories that we are learning, and probably just pasting it on the child when they come in. So, for that, let's understand some of the major goals and functions that school psychologists in India should be carrying out and is carried out, which is direct services. School psychologists often offer services, direct services to school children by offering counseling. Private in school, probably at times it could be at home, taking care of academic stress, relationship issues of youth, and some are regular issues that are addressed very effectively with the help of school psychologists in the counseling services. So these are direct services that they are providing. Something which is off front. You have them sitting in the school, this is the problem concern with this child, you report it to them. So these are something which are short, no change. You require no manipulation here. You know you have a psychologist who's school associated. Give them academic problem with children at school. Provide them relationship problems of the child, academic growth. So this is like a very direct perspective and direct thought and service to the school psychologist. Then we talk about assessment. See, once the problem is given to the school psychologist, there would be some testing, some sort of diagnosis, or some sort of assessment that would be done. Because without assessment, how do we come down to pinpointing that this is the concern with the child? Then it's like just throwing the arrow in the air. It's aimlessly playing a game. It's completely aimlessly playing a game. Without assessment, I feel counseling holds no strength. So schools are also carry out assessment as a part of their higher education training. Also allows them to learn principles of test conduction, seek experience in interpreting and test scores and making test reports. Owing to the skewed psychologist-student ratio, many school prefers to have visiting consultant to provide assessment services for career planning, like administration, like aptitude testing, and for higher secondary students, which is very true. The reason that we are not providing a protocol of making people learn school counseling and providing them the education, not letting them pick up the academic strength of this, not acknowledging them as happening, what a lot of people find having school counselors a burden because they do not know how to utilize them. They feel the conduction of the test, the interpretation, the scoring, the discussion with the parents can be done by an outsourced thing, an outside body. So they hire a consultant who comes to school, deal with the children, and then goes away. Or probably have a team coming to them, administer aptitude testing, attitude testing, IQ testing for children, share the result with parents, discuss it and further discuss the result, tell them, explain them, and they go away. So they are not an insole body in the school who are readily available to support the child, who are readily available to make space in the child's mind that we are always there to help you in your crisis. That's where we need to know this is because of the skewed relationship, skewed proportion of the student and the counselors that we are running out. Some of the like short rules. We'll come down to this again at the end of the session. They need to be an assessor. They obviously have to be a counselor. Support group facilitator. They should be capable enough to address children in a group. Psychological evaluator. Yes, a behavioral evaluator and interventionist. Educational consultant equally. See, school counselors need to know where the child is falling at this stage of life. What do they need to do at this stage of life? Also, data analysis expert. There needs to be a problem-solving team member. Crisis prevention team member should also be there who takes care of sudden breakdown of children. Problem solving is children are going through a dilemmatic situation. We need to have somebody like that. And then the response team member, which tells them that we are available. So school psychologist has a multiple role. For this multiple role, we need to have guidelines, regulatory body, providing them space, giving them the right amount of respect and identity, which is required by them. Also, they also play a role and have a function of something which is the expert talk. School psychologists arrange for talks by expert addressing needs of all stakeholders in variety. Like, let's take a small example. School talks could be class 10th, 11th, and 12th, could be CUET and tasking and managing CUET, understanding the protocols of CUET before sitting and doing your common entrance test. Also having experts speaking about what are the STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Also telling them what are the best careers in PCB. So these are stakeholders in variety ways, and they are experts who are coming to the school educational area, speaking about it, and then leaving. So this is also something which is arranged by school psychologists because they have the knowledge. They have the knowledge which area of children require what. Also, school psychologists provide guidance in students' career choices by organizing career talks and inviting experts from various fields to interact with students, empower students to become better decision makers. So this is again, this is one of the most general thing that school counselor does at a higher stages of life, which is the, at the classes of class 9, 10th, 11th, as I said, class 9th is responsible to have an understanding what are career choices, what are the different career choices that we have. Class 10th will be completely need to talk about time management. We need to talk about the stream selections with these children. Once they stream select in class 11th, we need to talk about the different careers per stream. So what kind of careers a PCB can have, multiple careers that a PCB can have. Also at the same time, when we speak about multiple careers, what engineering has fetched them of PCM can fetch them different kind of engineering. What are the trends in careers right now, etc. Also inviting experts in the school, as I said, for time management, meditation, telling them how to deal with examination stress. This also has to be got board by the school psychologists because they understand the need of the children. They understand that what kind of children require what. So difference, look at the multifaceted responsibilities that the school counselor does, and then we are unable to fetch in. Then we are very strongly unable to fetch the kind of identity, the kind of respect, and the kind of protocols to this. So the government needs to work on this. They also organize parent sessions on relevant topic, which is true. They talk about parents in school, association. They talk about what is good touch and bad touch. This is something which is primarily associated with them, which is good touch and bad touch. Also, we talk about body management, which is taught to these children as they grow up. We talk about time management. There is spoken about health issues. Also, talks about menstruation for women and safe sex for males have been organized as per the age allows. Have them to attend talk by nutritionist and dietitian to tell them what is the healthy body or right kind of diet is all about, both in young children, present children, and youth. The reason that because of pandemic, the higher availability of food on just by a button striking has become so easy that children find it a shortcut to, take care of their satiation of hunger. Then prevention services, which is again by a part of the role and function of school psychologists, by assuming a role akin to the community and a community psychologist. School psychologists tend to work for the development of primary and secondary preventive services targeted for the betterment of school students. So it's highly targeted for the betterment of school students. Intervention suggests that school prepare children for better life. So intervention is done, which is we intervene their process of learning for the reason to understand that how can they lead a better life, what is the best careers that they can choose. If this is the career, what are the two alternative jobs that you can look forward to. Since the last decade, career counseling by the school psychologists, arranging such things has been something which has been at a go. People have started doing, schools have started using this thing of calling consultancies, allowing children to grow, allowing children to understand careers, and also speak about griever issues of life. Since the last 2 decades, a lot of emphasis is placed on helping children and acquiring the need of life skills that are enabling children to have a very healthy, successful, and a mindful life. See, life skills is also which is getting incorporated class wise in most schools today. Classes, life skill is a skill which is adequate to life according to age. So it's age appropriate skills given to children, and life skills have been added as a very good decision by the school, I feel. And not only life skill is added to something which is class first, second, and third. It's from nursery, which is the pre-nursery skills. Teaching begins from nursery till grade 12. Grade 12 talks about careers. Grade 12 talks about honing skills and tech, getting a job in the best possible potential capacity field that they are doing. So this all supports them in a healthy lifestyle. Now, speaking of that, we talk about one of the most important things that school psychologists are doing and playing a role, which is consultation. School psychology concerns itself with psychological well-being of children. See, the end destination of having a counselor anywhere is mental health and well-being and growth. Now, this growth can change. Developmental psychology will talk about human growth, developmental growth. A school psychology will talk about academic growth and well-being. A counselor will talk about growth in terms of personality and behavior, and clinical will talk about a survival value of the growth, because that's how they differ. So that's how psychological well-being of school children has been put paramount by school psychologists, and hence focuses on academic difficulties. There are cognitive and behavioral difficulties which are faced by children that can be an obstacle for successful academic development. School psychologists also provide indirect services, which is they provide consultation where instead of directly interacting with the child, the school psychologist assist the parents or teachers of the child who's facing a particular problem. So directly going for a direct counseling and direct services. School psychology also looks forward to indirect services. Indirect services only says that you don't talk to the child, but you talk to the parents, you buffer, empower the parents, and you equip the teacher. So here, how is the mechanism? You have a teacher, you have a parent, and you have a child. The child remains at the center. The counselor is trying to mingle between the parent and the school, so that the development is understood of the child and right decisions can be made. So this is how, when we speak about school psychology taking over so much in the passage of time. And to also understand, we need to know that school psychology is not a very it's not very limited as a job. We need to know, we need to be very dynamic when we are talking about school psychology. School psychology will not only look forward to careers, it will look forward to disorders also. School will not these counselors will not only look forward to diagnosis, but also provide remedies. They will not just tell you this is the best career for you, rather give you multiple alternatives, that this is where you can fix yourself: A, B part, C part, D part. These consultations are always happening in collaborative nature, and since they're actively involved with parents and teachers of the child, resolving an issue becomes far more easier than we can think of. We will do the functions and associating the need in India again, to help understand that this is something that needs to be done. One of the most important part of school psychology is inclusion. let I'll give you a very simple example here. When we have special children in school which are suffering from any sort of learning disability, and speaking when we speak about learning disabilities and everything, we need to know that learning disability can also be incorporated in class. So how, these children have difficulties in learning in comparison to the other people. So when we speak about in comparison to the other people, we need to know there is there are times that we take these people defeated. Children with learning disabilities of reading, writing are not as competent as the normal children. We need to know there is a drop in the IQ. So when we say there is a drop in the IQ, we also feel that we usually feel that these children cannot be as competitive. We cannot fix them in the class. Probably teaching them along with the class will have difficulties. We might lag behind in the syllabus. Some few important things that inclusion suffers from. Inclusion is not successful. Why? Because teachers feel including special children or including children which have greater difficulty. Let's talk about milder ones and the ones that can be incorporated in comparison to the greater ones. The milder ones who do not have a good IQ, they subsequently can function and learn with normal children. They can address the same problem. They can academically score average. The only thing is social interaction and social and emotional interaction could be a little subdued. Now, having them in this class, teachers feel, teachers have this idea that we will never be able to complete our syllabus because we have to go according to them. Secondly, they feel we need to do multitasking a lot. That means you need to teach them separately and teach the others separately. It's going to be in a class a lot, which is a lot for a teacher. You cannot have them, you cannot have a teacher mask 5 roles in the class and do it. Third point, we feel that probably the subjects that we are teaching them is of outside their capacity. That is again a blockage to inclusion. And the lastly that we feel is, we straightforwardly know that these people do not have an IQ to compete or to involve others emotionally, along with social and emotionally. So speaking of that, that's like the first few problems of inclusion. And then we talk about people who are greatly suffering, not only IQ ones, which is learning disability, but also has mental retardation. Inclusion becomes a problem there. Special school is needed where school counselors are there. We have health counselors, we have developmental psychologists who can cater to these needs. So when we talk about inclusion education, remember school psychologist is actively involved in educational services to provide children with special needs. One simple example again, a child who has a lesser IQ than has a lesser IQ like 75 and 76 are the dullers of the of the continuum. They are not low IQ, but they are the dullers of the class. So when they come to a higher grade, which is class 8th and 9th, where we all know till 8th, passing is mandatory from CBSE, which is we need to support children that they grace and grade well. So the kind of teaching needs to variate. So now children with special needs in class 9th and 10th might not be able to do social science and science, and probably not be able to do maths and science. We need to buffer them with subjects of their kind, like substitute maths with IT and home science with science. So these are the alternative options which is being given by CBSE, so that inclusion becomes easy both for teachers and students. And students for subjects which are easy like English, Hindi, or probably language or social science, which they are able to do it, are able to function under the same strategy. So the appropriate teaching strategies are used. Infrastructure facilities remain the same for all of them, helping the fellow classmates develop a healthy attitude towards children of the special needs. So once you get to know we are working in the same class, the attitude of children also changes. So what does the school psychologist need to do? Incorporate such ideas by CBSE, have a very flexible way of working to incorporate children in the classroom, so that children enjoys the same infrastructure, the same facilities. Also, healthy attitude of normal children should be applied to them. There shouldn't be any kind of discrimination which is given to these children, because once we think about giving such kind of discrimination to these children, it becomes very difficult to include children in the same classroom. So inclusion can only be possible when we have flexibility by counselors, we have flexibility by school and community management. Community talks about CBSE and the school being willing to change the attitude of children towards them. So we need to know that children should also be life skilled to talk, to be empathetic, to be generous to others, to be warmth, lesser amount of discrimination and stereotypes. So changing the attitude of children towards special needs to be very healthy. School psychologists should also assist parents in providing a shadow teacher. There are times where a learning disability is very specific and they want the child to be in school, but they do not want the child to leave the class. They want the child to study in class 4th and 5th, 6th with the same class, with the same infrastructure, common teachers, homeroom teachers, a protocol, and a need of a need of shadow teachers are something which is increasingly coming to school. Shadow teachers, what is the concept of shadow teacher that we have? Shadow teachers are the teachers which look forward to support the child in the class individually, sitting with them. So shadow is like being associated to them very closely. Let's take an example. A child is having dyslexia. Dyslexia is a problem of reading, writing, where there is a problem with words of mirror images, which is P, Q, B, D, A, O, A, E. So such children, while learning or probably copying a text from the board, might copy it incorrectly completely. So now having a support of the shadow teacher with the allowance of the community and the school management, the teacher sitting with the student here will help the child address, add, learn adequately without any sort of miscommunication. Allow the child to copy the correct text from the board without any difficulties of A, O, B, D. Keep supporting them, and also help them in their social emotional skills. Also help them in addressing problems of themselves, of adjusting in class with normal children. So this is something which inclusion can add on only if the school councils are incorporated in school. So understanding today what is the base of school psychology, how it is prevalent in India, there are multiple needs we need school psychology in India, not only career, but also the well-being, also the increasing suicidal rates, also the fact that children require hands-on after the bigger pandemic that we have been a part of. So consultation, direct services, indirect services, inclusion services, training, inviting experts, career development, human development, intervention, diagnosis of problem, all of this is something that school counselor in Unit 1 looks like. This was summarizing Unit 1, Block 1 of school psychology. Thank you.